Howdy folks, how are we doing? You join me on one of the hottest days of the year so far. It's north of 30 degrees today. Not the best weather to be doing a chainsaw demonstration or comparison, but that's what we're doing. Now what have we got here? We've got a brand new Stihl 251C and a Hawksmoor. Have you ever heard of Hawksmoor? I hadn't until I found it yesterday. A Hawksmoor 47912 petrol chainsaw. Now, why are we doing this test? Well, one reason is we've got the brand new Stihl. Our old saw equivalent to this died, well, a little while ago. We've had to wait about 6 weeks for this to come because, like a lot of things at the minute, they're taking, you know, there's quite a long lead time on them. So this thing is brand new. This is one of the main saws we've got that we use. We've also got a smaller saw with a 14-inch bar. This has got 16 on it, although we'll probably upgrade that to 18 at some point. And we've also got a 291, a big saw. She's got a 20-inch bar on. So that's why we've got this. Like I say, the old saw is completely knackered now. It was about 20 years old. Blooming good saw. But yeah, we've got the brand new Stihl here. So why have I got this? Well, this is from Tool Station. If you're not from the UK, there it's like a nationwide tool distribution place. Like, you know, you can go there and all the stuff like that, screws, all sorts of stuff. Anyway, I was just browsing Tool Station yesterday and I come across this for £130. Yeah, that's right, £130. I thought, well, I've got to have a look. I've really got to have a look because it's perfect timing. We've got the brand new Stihl. Basically the same saw. This has got a longer bar on it than this one, but they're essentially the same saw. And I thought, 130 quid. How good a saw can that be? Well, let's find out. Right, now the Stihl is obviously a premium product. You know, it's one of the market leaders. We prefer to use them on the farm because they're a good, reliable, powerful saw. But that's reflected in the price. This one, top of my head, was around 550, 600 quid. I can't remember exactly. But, you know, it's a premium product. You expect to pay the money for it. And you expect to get performance and reliability in return. But does that mean if you're spending a quarter of the money, basically a quarter of the money, for an unknown brand? I mean, I've never heard of Hawksmoor. Is it going to be up to spec? You know, can it be up to spec of the Stihl? Obviously, the build quality is not there with this. It's cheaper plastics. It's not as finished as well. But it's got the same bar as the Stihl. It's got an Oregon bar, a .325. You know, it's everything there. Got chain brake on it, choke. You've got priming bubble there. You're on off there, but it's just not as refined as the Stihl. But what's the performance like? Well, we better find out, ain't we? Right, we're going to start with a nice easy cut first. Nice bit of 11-inch oak. So we'll do a cut with the Hawksmoor first, I think. Now this has yet to be started. Haven't started this one. The Stihl has been started, so I know that starts. So let's get this. Let's see if this will start. Primer bubble. Stop start there. So that should be on. Choke on. This has got easy start as well. Worth noting. So it's got like a spring load. Rather than you actually pulling the engine, you're winding up a spring, and then the spring releases, turning the engine over. So it's supposedly easier starting, or less effort to start. But let's see if we can wake her up. No, let's try without choke. Well, hopefully once it's started, hopefully it's easier to start than this. I think we'll leave it a minute, it's probably flooded. Right, so while we're leaving the Hawksmoor to rest for a minute, when we'll try again, we'll get the Stihl going, hopefully. So, full choke on air. There we go. Knock it back to 1. Lovely job. Same brake works fine. Let's give it a go. That's hot knife through butter, as you'd expect from the Stihl. The other thing to note is the Stihl weighs about 5.8k and the Hawksmoor 7.1, so it's considerably heavier saw, and I think, well, you would notice it over a long day. But that is key. Would you buy something like this if you're going to be doing a lot of sawing? No, not really, are you? You'd buy a Stihl or a Husqvarna, one of the premium brands. But what I'm trying to answer with this video is buying a cheap saw like this good if you're using it half a dozen days a year to do a bit of delimbing, knocking up a bit of firewood, that sort of thing? That's what I'm trying to answer, if we can get the blooming thing to start. So let's try again. We'll give it some choke. Fingers crossed. Right, so one thing I can say about it, it's easy to disassemble. Possibly a good requirement. Right, now what have I found out? Spark plug wasn't sparking. Now I've just closed up the gap there on the electrode, and interestingly I'm on stop at the minute. Right, if we do, and you can see it, right? There is a small spark there, but only a very small spark. There doesn't appear to be any spark when it's in run, which is handy. Yeah, it's definitely sparking there in stop. So that's not so good, is it? Because if I go there, you should be able to quite clearly see stamped in there, it says stop. So stop is obviously run. So we've definitely got a spark out of that. We'll put it back together and see what happens then. So that nipped up. Put that back on. Oh, it's definitely on. Well, you can see, I mean, it's quite tidy in there. Like, I mean, so everything seems to work all right. It's, you know, it's seems all right, doesn't it? So that back on there, cover back on. All right, try again. Choke on. Did that just try and fire? Take the choke off a minute. Yes. She's probably a bit flooded. It'll be easy to start, we can hope, can't we? Anyway, let's cut this bit of timber. Well, that was very similar to the Stihl. I mean, the Stihl, as you see on the, when we run the Stihl, that bogged a bit if you give it too much, the same as the Hawksmoor. So, not a lot to choose between on this bit size of timber. Time to go on to the big bit. Right, so now I've probably better load. It's going to be a good test of these stores, especially the Stihl with a 16-inch bar. That measures 3 foot 2 inches by 19 inches. So we'll go with the Stihl first. She's at the minute, like I say, she's rocking a 16-inch bar, 16-inch cutting length. So we'll get her to go first. We'll probably end up obviously doing cut from either side on this, but we'll see how she copes with a proper bit of hard wood. See, it is easy to bog the Stihl. Not easy with a 16-inch bar. I haven't been the straightest of cuts, but gosh, she's an eager saw though. Really does, with that new chain on, really does bite. And of course, brand new saw, the engine will free up, and bed in, and that'll probably, after a few hours, 10 or 20 hours of operation, that'll get a little bit more powerful. But okay, good job by the Stihl. Right, it's now time for the Hawksmoor to show its teeth. and see what it can do with this bit of oak. That's a lot better, Now it's run, that should start easy, just like that. What can you say about that? That was blooming awesome. I'm really impressed how well that cut that. That was, well, no different than the Stihl. It chomped through it. Obviously we've got a 19.5-inch cuttable bar on this one, which made the difference. Obviously I could nearly get all the way through it, but it didn't miss a beat, did it? And that's literally, well, that's the second log it's cut other than that that little first 11-inch one we did. So really impressed, really impressed. So what's my conclusion? Well, performance of the Hawksmoor was equal to the Stihl, cutting through this, you know, chunky old bit of oak here, like it just minced it. So performance is not an issue. The old chain has come a little bit loose, but that's probably to be expected. You know, new chain and everything. But to adjust the chain is just as easy as it is on the Stihl. In fact, it uses the same tool lock. So undo the two locking nuts, just nip them off like so. That's your adjuster there. Nip that up. Chain's going to be hot, but there you go, about there. Lift them up again. So it's got some really good features on it, and for, again, I can't get over the price, 130 quid for a saw of that size. That's bloody good value, I reckon. But I mean, the other question we can't answer at the minute is, you know, what's reliability going to be like? Is this Hawksmoor going to be as durable as the Stihl? Probably not. But, you know, like I said at the start, if you're not using it every day, you know, you're using it a few times a year, a bit like what we do really, you know, a bit of de-limbing, dealing with fallen trees, that sort of stuff, I don't see why this wouldn't do the job. I really don't. So when this is done a few more hours along with the Stihl, I'll probably do an update just to keep you abreast of, you know, how this thing's performing. I'm gonna make a point of any sawing I've got to do, I'm going to use the Hawksmoor. I'm just going to use it and we're going to see how durable it is. But initial impressions, bloody good, really good. So there you go. Cheap doesn't often mean cheerful. Well, it can mean cheerful actually. Cheerful that it works well. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video. We will see you on the next one. Ta-ta!